Hello, we are live. So, hello and welcome to Lunar Pumpkin. I'm Emily Coucher. I am an astrologer and a tarot card reader. And I also have a shop with lunar and affirmation based products. And basically, everything I do is to help you manifest the lunar cycle, manifest those dreams. But today, I am joined by two lovely guests, and I would love you to both introduce yourselves. We have Anaree and we have Denise. Far away. Who would like to start?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm the intuitive of this duo of Anaree and I. Our astrology validates intuition, and we've been doing this stuff. We started doing this stuff in 1994, but my background, I have been a psychic and clairvoyant, so I hear things, see things, smell things. All of the senses are heightened, and that's been since I was a child. Through the years, I've studied alternative healthcare, and I have a website, deniseminer.com, and then Anne-Marie and I decided this would be a good thing to do. And it just flowed so easily that we decided to do this. So we have another website, Astrology Validates Intuition. Is that enough? Do you need more?
No, that's all good.
Communication, mediumship,
It's extensive.
Yes.
Lots of it. Lovely.
I'm Anaree, and I have been studying astrology probably maybe the early 90s. I think I had kind of fallen into it. I had an opportunity to take a class which allowed me to shorten my work day. So that's the only reason I took the class. And then it was 10 years later, I'm still taking astrology classes because it was just so fascinating. And so then I, a few years back, stumbled onto Deborah Silverman's school. And I took, she has level 1, level 2, and level 3. And that's where I met Emily, because she was in my level 3 class. And that just helped me evolve with the astrology to learn more. And then I started doing it as a business, doing readings. And I've known Denise since, like I say, like in the 90s. And we used to just kind of hang out and I'd look at the ephemeris, which that tells you where all the planets are when someone's born. And she would just get these hits come through and I would say, oh yeah, look, see this? Yep, shows right here in the ephemeris. Yep, shows I can see where it, where that would come about. And like Denise says, it was just a couple months ago or so, we just decided maybe we should just kind of do this together and see how it works. And we've been having fascinating results with clients. What they do is they'll we have them give us a question. And then that way that gives us kind of a doorway. Where do we start? What are they looking for? Because Emily, as you know, you can look at that astrology chart and you're all over the map. There's just so much information. So that's what we started doing. And we're finding that it's really, really been helpful for people to kind of get themselves back on their path, a little out of the weeds for them. So that's what we started doing.
It's been a lot deeper than we thought. When we started this back in the 90s, when we did this, it was like play. We didn't realize that we go in pretty deep, don't you think, Anaree?
And I think as from the 90s up until now, I've studied more, I've learned more. Denise has studied more, she learns more. So it's like it just ups that whole energy level, and that doorway just kind of opens a little wider. And it's, honestly, both of us are shocked as what comes through. And I guess, and the clients are like, yep, it's spot on for them. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's so that's how it's been.
So can you both tell me your sun, moon and rising, just so people know what we're dealing with before we get started?
So I'm Scorpio sun, Gemini moon, and Leo rising. Anaretic degree. Right? Is that right, Anaree?
Yeah. Your rising is 29.
29.
Ooh,
29.
wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's just, it means it's quite a powerful one, because the beginning and end of a sign are this very sort of like transition points, which make it very potent. So
Yes. Yeah. And I'm a Sagittarius sun, Virgo moon, and an Aries rising. And my Sagittarius, my sun, my Mercury, North Node, and Saturn all sit in the 8th house. Which
and that 8th house,
as a
Scorpio's house
energy. Denise has so much Scorpio, so it's I'm not surprised we can do this.
So for people who don't know, Scorpio and the 8th house in general, an area of our charts that tend to dive deep. It's all about intimacy. It's about sometimes about sexuality, but also about things like joint finances. And it's the deep emotional part of the chart where it's often about therapy and holding space for people. Not always so much in the verbal space, but more a case of the deep listening, holding the space for people, being there. Would you tend to agree with how that comes out in your charts and your life?
Absolutely. And of course, and it's also like the spot where it's like the opening to the other dimensions are kind of a little more available. Yeah.
And it's actually your moon then, Denise, that's coming up. We've got a Gemini full moon tomorrow.
I know, isn't it great?
Yeah. Be interesting to see what happens.
Yes.
I won't get any sleep.
I know.
And you particularly won't get any sleep with all that Gemini.
No.
Maybe not. I do have a blog to write first.
Right. I think, is it 4 degrees? I think,
yes.
Gemini.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so it's going to be sitting right on your ascendant, your sun. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
So for anyone who doesn't know, what these lovely ladies are doing today is giving me a reading. So whenever you're ready, please do fire away.
Okay. When we start a reading, what we do is I'll kind of make sure I do have the correct birth info. To make sure I do have the right chart, the chart info. So what we'll do is we'll kind of go through and just do it as if we're doing like a reading for Emily. So what we do, I kind of say, like, is this birth info correct? So Emily was born May 27th, 1986 at 5 a.m. in Portsmouth, England. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
So, and then I always ask if they've ever had a reading, like an astrology reading or an intuitive reading. Now, I know Emily has had an astrology reading because we're colleagues. So, but I don't know if you've ever had like an intuitive reading done.
No, I've had, what was it? It was like pulling energy kind of aura reading from a friend. I don't know whether you know her, Sarah, who was on, she was on my level 2 actually, Sarah Freitas, but lovely Portuguese lady.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, no, I don't think I know her. Oh, okay.
Oh, well, yeah.
She's Portuguese?
She is.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she's the one who lives in Madeira that I'm going to hopefully go and see when I go across in July.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Isn't that great?
Yep.
Bon dia. Bon dia.
Yeah.
Good morning. Bon dia.
Yes, and I recognized what we were saying, but I was just thinking, I definitely don't have any pronunciation for it. Not yet.
You'll get
but
it.
Yeah. It would come out as bom dia, which doesn't quite sound quite right. It needs to have something else to it, doesn't it?
Bon dia. Well, you're saying it with an English accent.
Exactly, that's the problem.
Funny.
That's all right. They'll just be so
Yeah.
happy that you're trying. That's a good thing.
Mhm. Yeah. But so then what I'll do, I'll say, let me just say before we start that these readings are for educational purposes only. So please take away only what resonates with you and then leave the rest. And then I go through and I explain, like, I read the astrological natal chart, which is personal to you, Emily. And it allows me to see your talents and gifts and your purpose in this life. But it also allows me to see the challenges that you have in this life. And then what I usually do is I would send the chart to the client, and that way they have it in front of them. They don't have to know how to read it, because when we go through the reading, I'll kind of point out where I'm finding like this information, so that way when they go back and re-listen, because we record it, so that way when they go back and re-listen, they have something to kind of follow along. And then, like I said before, like we have them ask a question, so that Denise and I already have a question, so that we know before we start, because that way it kind of gives us the little doorway, like where are we going first? And then of course it can travel into, other topics, from there. So that's how we would start it. So, and
Emily,
then Denise,
is this being recorded?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. So it will still be on my channel once for people to get the replay if they want to. Yes.
Yeah. And then Denise goes through, like, then you can explain like what you do, what you tell the clients, so they have a little bit of an idea.
Well, it's hard to tell them that, because I don't know. It's different for everybody. You have a question. I start off with a question, and this week or last week, I came up with a few things for Emily. So there's sometimes I channel information from an archangel. This week was a little bit different. I got a little riddle for Emily.
Ooh.
So you'll have to tell us afterwards if you know what it means.
Okay, amazing.
So I mean, but it's different. Certainly, the questions I've come up with answers to your questions, and then other things that are pertinent to you that Anaree will say where it is located in your chart. We have no idea. I mean, I don't have your chart in front of me, and Anaree and I have not talked about this. So it's like this is for real.
Yeah.
We'll do the best we can, and if you have any questions, certainly stop us and ask, or whatever comes up. I mean, this is your time, and we're just like helpers. Okay, Anaree.
All right. So do you want to start with, and if someone has never had, say, an astrology reading before, what I'll do, because they have this chart in front of them, and of course, it's like total foreign language. So I'll go through and explain real quickly, like with the chart, if you were to put yourself in the middle circle, that would be where the place where you were born. And if you had the ability to look up into the sky, you would see all where the planets were, and all the planets that are on the inside the circle in black. That's where your planets are, and that's what makes up your natal chart. So then most people know their sun, like Emily, your sun is in Gemini. You know that, and because Emily is an astrologer, she knows where all her planets are. I mean, always. She knows where they are. So it shows where your moon is, your Mercury, your Venus, because even though Emily is a Gemini, depending on where it sits in the chart, it's going to take on another flavor. So not all Geminis are the same. They can be very, very different. So I look at that. So I explain that to the client. And then when you look at the outside of the chart, there's planets that are in green. And what those show are where the planets are today. So as they travel around, as we move, those planets make different angles. And that's kind of what wakes up what's going on in our own natal chart, almost like our little blueprint, fingerprints, say. And that's kind of like wakes things up, gives you ideas, and oh, I got to do this now. Whereas, 3-4 months before, no, it wasn't even on the radar. So I kind of do a quick little explanation so they kind of have some little frame of reference of what they're looking at as we go through the session.
Well, it's always good for people to know what's going on, don't they? People don't want to go in somewhere blind and think, oh, what the hell's going to happen, do they?
Right.
They want one kind of idea to sort of navigate themselves and think, well, actually, I'm safe for this, and actually, I can open up if I'm asked something, and actually, it's not going to be all that scary. Because you're not scary ladies, really, are you?
No.
Maybe.
No.
Well, not to me, anyway.
So actually, Denise, if you want to, I don't know, wherever you want to start with, like whatever.
You want to start with the question?
Yeah, and then that way we can see where we can start on.
One of the things that I'd like to say is Anaree and I don't do this and throw it out to the world. Like we're throwing it out to the world with you. So, we're not going to say things that you wouldn't want someone to know. We do this very privately. It is recorded for our client, but it's a very personal. It's personal to them, and it's not shared with anybody. I don't even get a copy of the recording, and I've asked Anaree, don't send me a copy. I don't need a copy. Copy goes to the client, so that it is a very safe place. It isn't like we're out in the world.
No.
So I don't have the question in front of me, but the first question was about you moving to Madeira in 5 years. And it was interesting and the second question had to do with your shop, the things that you sell. Where do you want me to start? Do you want me to answer that? Which one do you want me to answer first?
I would think the moving thing, because
okay. So what I got, which is, very interesting to me, because I am Portuguese and my family is from the islands of the Azores, from San Miguel and from Faial. So when she said Madeira and it's a Portuguese island, it's like, oh my goodness, this is really something. So that in itself is a coincidence or a synchronicity. I prefer synchronicity.
Yeah.
So what I got is that it may not be 5 years. It may be before that. I think probably closer to 3 years. And the importance of this move is, which leads me into a bunch of other stuff, but you can, let me finish what I'm saying, and then you can step in, Anaree. The importance of this move is nature. You being out in nature, because it's a beautiful, beautiful island. My husband traveled all over the world with the oceanographic, and that was one of his favorite islands because it was so beautiful. And the people are Portuguese, so they've got to be warm and loving, right? So
I hope so.
it's just but nature is the thing, and I sense that you'll be doing more writing there. The nature there will provoke this energy through you, where you'll be writing music, and you'll be writing. Oh, I'm gonna start crying. I'm sorry. you'll be writing songs for children, and you'll also be selling your songs to so you'll be writing for other artists, but the children's songs will be like lullabies and bedtime, quiet time songs that are really from the nature spirits that are there. Okay, Anaree, take it from there.
So, not knowing all of that, I scribbled down some notes yesterday as I was looking at your chart. Now, Emily, you have Saturn in Sagittarius, and it's in your 7th house. And when you have Saturn in Sagittarius, there's a need for you to be bold and honest. And I want to say,
risk,
like loud.
Risk.
Well, I was going to say, when I say like loud in relationships, because it's in the 7th house, I don't mean to say you're a screaming lunatic. That's not like what I mean. But you need to have your say, and you're not, and it's not to be mean, but it's like having Saturn in that house helps you to develop confidence, and that's not quiet. But you need to, like, not that go along energy, because the 7th house is relationships. It's ruled by Libra. Sometimes you can get a little lost in a relationship, but in this lifetime, you've asked yourself to kind of come in and have value for what you say in a relationship. And interesting, you have it opposite your sun in Gemini, and Mercury in Gemini in the 1st house. And Gemini is all about communication, and it's all about how do you stand up for you? How do you have to say? And having the North Node at that, now you have the North Node in that Anaretic degree of 29 in Aries, and Aries rules the 1st house. Your sun is in the 1st house, and Aries again is bold. It's the leader. It's the taking action. And your North Node sits in your 12th house, which is Pisces house. And Pisces rules music, and it rules poetry, and it rules, it is all that. So you take all this, and it also rules boundaries. So it's like, and that may not be easy necessarily for you to create your boundaries, because it's almost like Pisces house, it's a water house. How can you hold water? You have to make your own container, your own, set your limits, your boundaries. So that can be a challenge. And interesting, I find you have a square. You have Mercury squares Jupiter, which is in Pisces. Again, here comes a Pisces thing. And Jupiter, which is ruled by Sagittarius. So here comes Saturn's. It's all these little things keep supporting each other. And you have Jupiter in Pisces in the 11th house, which is Aquarius's house. So there's that whole, it's the collective, it's the groups, it's the ingenious type of coming thinking outside the box. Yeah, no, not following along. And here you have Jupiter in Pisces, and it's like, it's huge. You're going to do, it's like big stuff. It's not little stuff. It's big stuff. But interesting, it makes a square. Your Mercury squares Jupiter, and then squares Uranus, which is you have it in Sagittarius in the 7th house. Uranus is ruled by Aquarius. So these pieces keep pulling each other all together, and it causes tension in the sense of, I have to do something. I have to do something with these gifts. I have to do something with these talents. And then if you look at almost like those two squares, those 3 planets making those angles, look directly across from the Jupiter, and it puts it right in the 5th house, which you have ruled by Leo. And there's the whole release, almost like bring all that tension down into that 5th house. And Leo is fun. Leo is kids. Leo is singing. It's all playing games and doing all of that. But of course, you've got Virgo in there too, so there's got to be a little bit of structure. You can't just. So I said, so as I'm looking at this, and I'm like, oh, this makes sense. I could totally see you getting involved in writing songs and poetry stuff, doing stuff for kids. And it's got to have a fun piece. Has to have a fun piece. Because as I look at your chart, I says, oh yeah, I see that.
Just as you were talking there, I was seeing her write a musical, like a little play, for I don't know, for children, but it doesn't necessarily mean young children, but a little musical. Would that be like an Aquarius Jupiter thing, where it's expansive, where you were just talking about that? Because when you were talking about Aquarius's house, I think Jupiter and Aquarius, it's like, oh my God, she could do a little musical. She could write. I mean, I don't make this stuff up. Sense. It's like what comes in. So
yeah,
I could.
Emily, does that make sense? I mean,
so there were lots of little things that were coming through that I've heard from both of you. As a kid, there is definitely that sense of being, needing to be more, what's the word? Assertive, and but also have more childlike sense of play. And I think that does come out in the creativity. And as you were saying, I probably will do more creative writing and things, but also being out in nature is something that does inspire me. So when Denise was saying about it, I was like, yes, more of that, more and more of that. And the strange thing is that I did actually look at my relocated chart in my astrology studies I'm doing at the moment, and literally everything seemed to have a lot more Aries to it. Like, what? This is crazy. Move to Madeira and would have all this Aries energy. So
that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
I think I've become Aries rising with that. I'm like, what?
Yes.
Wow.
No, look at, you've got the sun in the 1st house, so that's a big Aries. And then look at your Mars. Mars is 22 degrees Capricorn conjunct your moon at 22 Capricorn. And where does it sit? Sagittarius's house. So here we go. It bounces back again. And it's like, and that Mars in Capricorn, responsibility. Yeah, you can have, that's what's going to help support you to kind of keep you on track. So you're not like, oh, I'm just going to go and, I'm going to be the 5-year-old for the rest of my life. And I don't have to take any responsibility. No, that Mars will keep you on track, yet still allow you to have fun,
Well, she can't help but have fun, because she's got what I thought was a fairy, but I found out later it's called a sylph. Have you heard that? You heard that? A sylph. It's like a little fairy, but it's air. It's they're like, if you look up in the sky and you see like an animal in the cloud formation, it looks like a cloud formation. It isn't. It's a sylph made that for you. It's a little gift the sylph has for you. So, and it's like a little fairy, and you have one around you a lot of the time, and her name is Anaree, like the sound AH, Anaree. And you can, when you sing, when you're outside and when you sing and you feel little flutters around, it's her fluttering around you. She loves to hear you sing, and they're very, very playful, So, I mean, I thought, and she has come into your house, so I thought, well, maybe she lives in the plants or something. But when I checked this morning, she may come in, but she goes out. I mean, because that out in the air, unless you leave a window open or something. I don't know what you do, but this is a very special thing. She likes your singing, and little flutters. Yeah. And that's and then went into, and you're going to do music for artists, for different artists. I mean, when you move to Madeira, as you just said, your whole energy is going to shift. There will be times that you won't even recognize yourself, because you will have a courage and purpose that you never had before. It will be totally new to you. I know. Am I getting off track, Anaree?
No, like when did Emily? When did you start thinking about moving? Was it maybe 3 years ago?
Possibly. It
Because
could have been.
Because I look at that you would have had Saturn just on like your midheaven. You know what I mean? In Aquarius, so that would kind of open the door to, say, career-wise, where you live. You know what I mean? All of that, something where, it's something needs to change, something. And then you've got Pluto, the transiting Pluto. You figure even then would have been sitting on your Mars and your Moon in the ninth house. And now, I mean, it's Pluto's 28 degrees Capricorn now. And that's, I would say, conjunct to your midheaven, which is at 1 Aquarius. So that whole, something's coming. You know what I mean? Some big transformation, is coming. And then you've got the planet Uranus, which, I mean, these are slow moving planets. You have it coming up soon because it's in your 12th house, but that's going to start to be tapping on your ascendant. You know what I mean? So there's that unexpected kind of, almost like you said, Denise, like you said, you won't even recognize yourself. You know what I mean? It'll be like more Aries driven, going. So that makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, this sounds fun, Emily.
So
I know.
So the singing, now that I think about it, the reason why the sylph, Anaree, likes your singing is because it's air. Isn't it air? Isn't singing air? So it's just more air. And you have so much air. You've got a lot of air because you have a lot of Gemini. So it's like, oh my God. So that's where it's part of you. It's a necessity for you to do that. I know it's air, but somehow it grounds you. I don't know how. Maybe Anaree knows how.
Well, when you look at your elements, those should be balanced. Like as your fire, your air, your earth, and your water. And I look at yours, and it seems pretty balanced. But I don't know from what's been encouraged and developed, for you up until this point. You have two in fire, 2 planets fire, 2 in air, 3 in earth, 3 in water. And even though I look at the chart and you say, oh yeah, now if I didn't know Emily, I'd say, oh, here's someone who really speaks her mind all the time. She's got the Sun and Mercury in Gemini sitting in that first house. But maybe not. Maybe it's been a little bit more challenging for you growing up and learning to find your voice. And that's where this kind of shows, like the progress. I don't know. I mean, it's you would know more. Yeah, you would know
Obviously.
more. Yeah, yes. I mean, I can't just assume all of this was supported when you were younger. And of course
it wasn't.
No, and of course when we come into a life, that's how you can read a chart where it says, well, gee, this shows this, this, and this, but I don't know the specifics. I don't know what the challenges, the specific challenges that say you had to work through, and that helps you to develop more air and pushes you to do more for yourself.
And you have a tendency to become scattered and take on too much, which leads to a little procrastination. And I always thought that procrastination was a bad thing, but for you, it's a good thing, because that's when the universe gives you time to pause. It's actually a necessity. Now, who would think something like waiting until the last moment to do something would be a positive thing? But for you, it may be, because it gives you, otherwise you won't take the time. You won't take the time to stop. So if you're procrastinating on something, that's your pause. Does that make any sense at all?
It does, yes. I've always been somebody who tried to do a lot of preparation, and then somewhere in my brain I'd think, oh no, not today. And then it would be a case of when it's a few days beforehand, I really, really start focusing. And then it can be literally up to the day before something needs to be done. I'm there and I won't stop until it's done, because that's sort of like the Capricorn moon in me. It needs to be done to a high standard, has to be done, have to have the achievement sense of it. Whereas the Gemini side of it, it's like, I can play with it. I've got all the time in the world, and they get inspired at different points. And I'll write the bits that I'm inspired by and write that little bit when I feel like I want to. But then part of me just doesn't want to do it anymore. And then it gets to near the deadline. I'm like, I'm doing it now. There's no choice.
And it's interesting. I mean, it makes sense, Emily. You've got the moon and that and Mars in Capricorn. It's Sagittarius's house. Fly by the seat of your pants. Do it. You do your best. Because I'm a Sagittarius, I know this well. You do your best under pressure. All of a sudden, gotta get it done. And that's so, see? And I tell you, thankfully, that moon and Mars in Capricorn saves you.
Yes, always.
It saves you every time.
It's strict. It's really strict.
Yes. Yeah.
I have a couple more things. And one is, I get that you saw something when you were a child and were traumatized. And this happened in this lifetime, and you were between 4 and 5 years old. And whatever it was, it caused your brain to scramble a little bit. But oftentimes as children, we see things that we don't know what it means. It could be you watching television and seeing something on television that just appalled you. I don't know, or a dog getting hit by a car or something. But something traumatized you. Do you have any idea? Does that show up at all in her chart, Anaree?
Well, I don't know, Emily, maybe having Chiron and Gemini, with that Chiron, you know what I mean? In Gemini, communication, Chiron is the things you come in, things that you have to work through. You have to, it's like someone can't tell you, oh, this, and this, and then you're like, oh yeah, I get it. You personally have to go through Chiron's, let's say, gift. Let's call Chiron's gift.
There's a lot of what you both said, actually. There is definitely a lot there, because I did feel like it was a real struggle to actually be heard as a child. Both my sisters were very confident in speaking and would speak 10 to the dozen. And I had things that I would have to process before I spoke. That's again back to the sort of dyspraxic brain. It's a case of, right, okay, there's the coordination side of it. So taking a bit longer to process the thoughts before I actually spoke. I mean, obviously with age comes more coping mechanisms in life, and actually you wouldn't look at me and think, oh, by the way, she had educational needs growing up or anything like that. But and then I remember thinking, well, there's so many children waiting for this slide at play school. I mean, it's so silly, waiting for a slide at play school. I waited patiently because that's what I was told to do by my parents. And then all these kids ran in front and I never got to go on the slide. So there I was deciding to hide under a table because it felt safe. It's really strange. And then it's a case in the family dynamics as well. So it's not just, it's the kids not fitting in, because I would rather listen to parents' conversations because actually they made more sense. And I didn't want to play like mums and dads or, you know, pretend I was a shopkeeper, or I don't know. I didn't want to do any of that. I just wanted to have somebody listen to me and be able to, I don't know, go down the slide or whatever. It's just not getting that ability to be heard in the way that I needed, or being able to say, yes, oh, just come and have a hug. That just busy parents working, and then having two sisters that also needs of, you know, love and attention and all those things. Although I was the special one, it's a case of it was really hard to be heard. So when I did end up having lots of them faces coming towards me to hear what I wanted to say, it was kind of, come on, Emily, spit it out. And it was a case of, at that point, I would end up stuttering.
Like, hurry up, do it now.
Yeah, I'd end up stuttering. And then I was conscious because I was stuttering. So it's like, yes, there is that kind of memory. Although these days I can speak, I don't have any issues there. And I have a lot to say.
And look at this, just goes to show you've got that North Node in Aries. Aries is the leader, Aries, and you have it at 29 degrees. That's that Anaretic degree. And when you see something at 29 degrees, you're getting like the whole thing, the Aries energy. Give it all, the good, the bad, give it to me all, and I'm going to learn, and I'm going to manage this in this life. Give it all of it. So it would make sense that you would have to have those experiences, because that's what's going to help you really push through and kind of manage all of that. And then you have it in the house, in the 12th house, Pisces house, and Pisces is compassion. So even though you've gone through that challenge, and you can now verbalize it, you can explain it. So now you have the ability to, going forward, how can I help others that are going through the same? And it's like, so you were going to get the double, you were going to get the heavy load of that. And of course, having the sun in Gemini, Mercury, Gemini, that's all communication. That's networking. That's talking with others. That's doing all that. And you have it in that first house of the key word for the first house is I am. It's like, I am here to be listened to.
Yes.
So makes perfect sense to me. I mean, so it shows you're doing what you've asked yourself to do. It makes sense. Yeah.
Did you realize that before? Did you realize that in your present years? Did you realize that you have done all of those things?
I have realized when it came to the lockdowns in the COVID times, I did realize that I needed to sort of hone it a bit to actually remind myself that actually I have a voice that needs to be listened to. And so I did a Les Brown power voice training, and one of my first videos on my channel is actually me speaking about lots of struggles growing up, and actually saying that, well, actually, if you've kind of gone through similar things, if I living proof that actually I come out the other side and be able to hold space for people and find joy and fulfillment in my life, then I'm sure you can do it too. It's kind of, okay, life has adversities, but we can grow through those. And there are people out there, like all of us actually, that are here to listen and really value and care about what you have to say and help you to find your purpose and your value in life. And that's Yeah.
Well
So that
said.
definitely helped.
Yes, yes.
And then I came and did the astrology straight afterwards.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, makes sense. With you would have had Saturn going through hitting your midheaven. Saturn's all about responsibility, kind of putting things in your face. Okay, this is it. You have to do this. Look at this. Deal with this. And you had it going through your 10th house, that midheaven in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is the collective. It's the other people. It's, what can you do to kind of put something new in front of the collective or like of people that can serve them, that they can take and go forward with without you having to hold their hand the whole time. So you see what I mean? So, well, there was Saturn at work on going through your 10th house in Aquarius. Yeah. And that would have been the lockdown, say go like about 3 years back, 2-3 years back. Yeah. Yep. That would have all been going on. Perfect.
So the part of fortune. Can you say a few things about that, Anaree?
So your part of fortune, where that falls in your chart, is considered like a good luck spot, like a lucky charm kind of. It's I think an Arabian part, I believe.
Yes, I think I've heard that.
Yeah. And so Emily's is in Libra. So having it in Libra, it falls in her I think 6th house. I don't have the exact, because I didn't realize I didn't realize that was going to come up, so I didn't have that pulled up on her chart. But Emily, you think it's usually close to your south node? Is it?
Yeah, I know my south node's in Libra as well. So I remember when I looked up part of fortune years back, I know it did fall in Libra. I just don't remember the exact degree.
Because you have so your south node's 29 Libra.
Yeah.
And that would fall in your 6th house. Mm-hmm. And you actually have Pluto at 5 degrees Scorpio in your 6th house. So that would indicate that those two are conjunct, almost like that Pluto energy in Scorpio is going to affect the pot of fortune, or both. They kind of, use it. And of course, Pluto energy is all about transformation. Pluto, and especially being in Scorpio, because Pluto is ruled by Scorpio. And think of it as, like, I always think of Scorpio has like almost like 3 levels. It can be like the Scorpion. So that energy can be like, if you know a Scorpio, or maybe they can be one that, they're going to sting you before you sting them. They kind of be, kind of a little bit, kind of get you before you get them, kind of a thing. If that's more on the lower road, and then the next level of that energy is the eagle. So you have an ability to kind of step up, become the observer, kind of look at a situation that you're involved in before you go and react. But then the highest level of it is the phoenix. So I look at it as like the phoenix was the bird that could be burned and then come back from the ashes. And you get yourself to that level and you work out of that energy, that dimension. It's almost like, bring it on. There's nothing that's gonna stop me. I can handle anything. I don't care how difficult it is. I will rise back up and be better. And you have that conjunct your south node, which kind of gives the south node is like the tools and the knowledge you come into this life with. So it helps you. Opposite of the south node is your north node. So then here we are, north node in Aries. It's almost like that south node, those tools from the south node, plus that Pluto, kind of like that destructive, blow things up and regenerate, helps you stand on your own 2 feet and say what you need to say. And it doesn't matter what comes down the pike, because you will come out better on top. And you got that part of fortune is like that little lucky charm helping you along the way. And of course, in Libra, it's all about relationships. People will be there for you to help you to rise to be your best. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Take it.
I'm taking it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I know there's another. I just occurred to me. There's another question that I have to answer as about your business. But there's also, maybe I'll do that first. Business wise, I really believe that the business that you will excel at is not your shop. It's your music. So I think that your shop has more to do with the economy and and how the economy would affect your stuff, because your stuff is really cute. I love your stuff. But it's like, do people have the extra to do that? It's the economy. And that would be my concern. So I don't know how you would change that. However, the music end of it, I mean, I saw you, I don't know if I told you this, but I saw you also on the radio. I don't even know. I mean, I saw you doing a radio thing, music on the radio. I also get radio. Writing music for radio and hearing your music by other artists on the radio. I mean, that's communication, anything to do with that type of Gemini thing is what you will really excel at beyond your wildest dreams. So I would really look forward to that. And I got someone named Harold. Do you have a Harold in your family? Feels more like an uncle type thing, a Harold.
Not that I know of.
Well, he's out there.
He's
He's out there. I don't know if he's a guide or, I don't know, but his name is Harold.
Okay. Interesting.
And is it time for me to read your riddle?
Oh, the riddle.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Do the riddle.
1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4. Up in the attic, walk through the door. Wiggly piggly, fun time again. Open the box and be my friend. Do you want me to read it again?
Go for it.
1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4. Up in the attic, walk through the door. Wiggly piggly, fun time again. Open the box and be my friend.
I wonder what that's about.
I don't know. It's not my message.
I know.
Okay.
It's yours.
Okay.
I don't know. Is it in her chart, Anaree? Can you find it?
No, when Emily, and I only know you because of through the astrology classes. I don't know your day to day. You know what I mean? That I don't know you like that. But when I hear that, to me, that sounds, that's like perfectly. That's Emily. That little phrase totally is in sync of for you. That whole little, I think it's more that little like childlike fun, you know what I mean? It's the singing, it's the poetry, and it's like, that's how I think of you getting your messages across.
Okay.
I don't know. Does that make sense, Emily?
Yeah.
Yeah.
things that are cute and rhyme and things like that.
Yes,
Yeah, I can see it.
I totally see you that way.
That's what I've got. You
Yep.
got any more questions? You got any questions?
No, it all sounds lovely. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's good fun, and it's hopefully
Yeah.
all quite inspired for the future. So thank you.
You've got a lot good going for you, girl. You really do. But what is your husband's sign?
He's a Sagittarius, so he is on my descendant. So I've always said
There you
that
go.
my missing bits of fire are him. It's like,
Oh, all the
he's my fire.
There you go. There you well, and there's the fun piece. That kind of helps to, you know what I mean, to add to to add to the fun. Yeah. Perfect. And then and here you have your moon in Sagittarius's house. So because have you done the degrees of his like sun and moon? Is it the numbers? Does he have 20?
I really can't remember, to be honest.
Yeah. I was
I
gonna
did
say
look at
take
his
a
chart
look.
ages back, but
Yeah, I was gonna say take a look and see if especially like that sun moon rising, if you see like his say sun moon rising, or even like Venus, you know, more the personal planets, if they have the same degree, maybe not necessarily the sign, but the same degree number, that usually can be like an indication of a past life connection. You know what I mean? That
yeah, I know he's Sagittarius sun, he's Scorpio moon, and he's got Leo rising. Hence, like he's like
I
the
love
fire.
him.
look at I.
So do I.
Yeah, yes. And here you so much kind of like your release goes into your fifth house, which is ruled by Leo, which is fun. So see how the whole like little mixture kind of blends. That's why I always say like knowing the astrology is so helpful because it makes sense of everything. You know,
and he is
like,
a big kid.
Yeah,
he's totally a big kid.
There you go. There you go. Perfect. But see, your North Node being in Aries, you're the one that can kind of be more of the leader with boundaries because it's 12th house. But so you have the ability, but even though, you know, you might just want to just stay in the playful side. But you can do both. You can do both. Yeah.
You know, Anne-Marie and I have decided when we do our readings that we like people to think about things for a while and let them marinate and see how, you know, and whenever if something comes up, we'd like to get in touch with you, or we'd like you to get in touch with us about a week out. How do you feel about that? I mean, if you have any questions, if you need something processed or whatever, what do you think, Anaree?
Yeah, and that's what right, and that's what we've started to do when, like Denise says, we do these sessions, and then you know, along with having the session, it comes with a 15-minute kind of follow-up, and it's with like either one of us, you know, and the client can decide with either, you know, one or the other, or if they don't, it's like we just see what does it fit in our schedules, and we get back with them and pretty much kind of go over, well, how did you think the reading was, because it can be a lot of information, I think, and I tell you,
if questions come up
regarding it, do they need a little more clarification? Easy doing this with you, Emily, because you speak astrology, so I can just bounce right around, you know, and say, oh, you have this, this, and this, and it totally makes sense because you understand the language, but not everybody does. So for them to be able to have an opportunity to call back, you know, and kind of check back with either one of us, and kind of, so that gives us the feedback too of, well, how did this session go? And, you know, what was it valuable? Was it, you know, and that's what we're finding, that, you know, people will, they're surprised at how much validation this gives them, because I have a woman at the barn where I have my horse. We did a session for her, and so I see her all the time. And and we do hers maybe a month ago or so.
Yeah.
And she's still to this day, it's like, I cannot believe how that whole session has totally changed my perspective. And going forward, how I just feel almost lighter, almost more at ease with, just by having just one session.
Well, we are in Sagittarius season. We're looking at that higher perspective.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's quite interesting, actually. Since I met you, Denise, I just keep seeing rainbows. I don't know whether that's got any kind of significance, but literally every so often, within the last however many weeks ago it was that we had our first Zoom where we were talking about having a live together. I just keep seeing like there's a song or there's something comes up in a news feed or social media or just random places. There'll be some reference to a rainbow.
Wow.
It's really weird.
Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
That is my favorite song.
Oh, there you go.
How did I know?
I'm having it at my funeral.
Yes.
I am.
Oh,
We should sing. We should sing that. Somewhere. Go ahead, Emily.
Oh, that's a bit high. Over the rainbow, way up high. Oh dear, my voice is not great at the minute.
No, it's beautiful. Keep going.
She has a lovely voice.
No, I can't right now.
Okay.
But that little bit was
pitchy.
good.
You did excellent.
A little bit pitchy.
I mean, I sing all the time, but I don't sound very good. But I don't care because I just love to sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you sound good. You've got
I've got one little bit. Someday I wish upon a star, I wake up where the clouds fall behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops, away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. There's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby.
Brilliant.
I have got goosebumps all over my body.
That is
good. Thanks.
But listen to what you said. Once in a lullaby. We talked about lullabies for children. Yes. And I mean, that song hits so much on this reading.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. There's no accidents.
Isn't it amazing? Somewhere over the rainbow. Of all the songs about rainbows, I just picked that one.
Yeah.
Huh. What a coincidence, huh?
I know. No, that was good. No, this has been great.
Yeah, it really has. Thank you both.
No, it was fun. This was fun.
Is there anything else you'd like to wrap up with, or just reiterate where people can find you if they want a reading?
Yeah, they can find us on, we have a website, astrologyvalidatesintuition.com. So they can jump on there and then they can see, everything that we have there. And we'd be happy to set up a session, with anyone if they just like to get a little bit of an idea of kind of like what's going on and, are they doing what they need to be doing?
Or you can just, go to the website, and if you have a question that is not answered there, then you can ask us.
Just email. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you both so much. I'm going to end the live, but you can both stay on if you want to for a little bit and talk privately. But thank you, everyone who's joined us and anyone watching the replay. It's been a lovely session, and thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.